Alright guys, today we're going to talk about some 3V. Two examples here. Neither one has been tested yet for hardness. I have done edge retention on both of these. This one, the Cold Steel Pendleton Mini Hunter, was given to me by G That Sharp on Instagram, and I will have links to his account down below. Go check out what he does. If I can get it open. And the Bailout, as you can see, it is definitely a soft one. It is number 35. That is on loan to me from Paul Murphy, and I will put a link to both of their Instagram in the description down below. Definitely go check those guys out. So unless you're new to knives or something like that, there's no secret at this point that Benchmade has been running the 3V soft. Had been. Up until this point. They did slip in the comments, and I had seen it a couple other places. They did raise the hardness from 55 to 58 as their range, up to 60 to 62. Definitely a much better place for it to be. I'll go ahead and link Clint's video if you want to hear more about it. They did go ahead and pretty much scrub the internet of any posts they had with the new advertised hardness. And the 3V Bailout is one on their own website that has no hardness listed currently. Just this model. The Cold Steel 3V, I will have Kurt test this. I believe a couple have been tested, bigger knives though, and they were all right at or just above 60 HRC. You're definitely going to see that in the testing when we go over the results. So let's go ahead and get the super sped up cutting out of the way, and we'll come back and talk about these two and how they did. Okay, so that was the cutting on both of those. And we'll just talk about 3V here real quick. 3V is a powdered version of Vasco die steel that has since been discontinued. It has very high toughness. It also has high wear resistance. And I'm not sure in a custom setting what the hardness can be run up to, but Crucible shows it can get to 64 HRC. And they also note that the edge stability at 63 HRC is still very good because of the high toughness, and that it is not prone to chipping at higher hardness. Now, any tool steels I've had that were done good to well at higher hardness, I have not had much of any kind of chipping issues with any of them. Not unless it was like that Benchmade M4 that was just severely overheated. So we'll go ahead and talk about this one first. It's 3V. Yeah, somewhere between getting this from Paul and the first time I tested it, one of the stop pin screws fell out, so I will have to get another screw for him before I give it back to him. The Benchmade 3V, it appeared to have a factory edge on it when I got it from Paul. He got it secondhand. He traded a bug out for it, so I'm not positive if it had been sharpened before or not, but I did go ahead and put a few edges on it. This is the normal edge that I test with. That is 1500 grit, stropped 5 times on 6, 3, then 1 micron. And for the first test on the Bailout, I got 99 feet fine edge and 107 feet working edge. Yes, the spread between the fine and working edge on the first test was 8 feet. I don't know if you'd call that good or bad. The one Steve bought and tested, I believe it did 110 to 115 feet, and it had no working edge whatsoever. I am going to ask Paul if I can have Kurt test this one to see how hard it is, but from the numbers I'm guessing it's probably down around the 55.5 to 56 HRC. Who knows? Maybe it's a little higher. Who knows, right? So on the second test, I went ahead and sharpened it again, cut with it again, and the second test, I got 101 feet fine edge and 106 feet working edge. So only 5 feet of a working edge this time in a 1-inch section. Not terribly impressed with how it did, but we will come back to this in a minute. So now the Pendleton Mini Hunter. This had definitely been used before I got it, as you can see. Used quite a bit from the looks of it because the cold steel coating, especially the shinier DLC type stuff that is not paint, takes a long time to wear. So how did this little 3V do? I went ahead and put a edge on it, used it to get a feel for it. It's a small knife. It is one I wanted to pick up. I got some use on it, got to check it out. Did well, had no complaints. Went ahead and sharpened it again. Don't believe I've resharpened this one since I tested it. I think all I did was strop it. Same 1500 grit edge. Same secondary angle. 1500 grit. 631 micron, 5 passes per side. The first test, I got 120 feet fine edge and 165 feet working edge. I'm just going to go ahead and guess this is probably up around 60 HRC like the other cold steels that Curtis tested. So I went ahead and sharpened it again. Ran the verification test. And on the verification test, 118 feet fine edge and 169 feet working edge. So when you hear people say, it'll be great to find out the hardness on this, then you can make the comparison. And I see people say it a lot that 3V compares to S30V for edge retention. And in this particular example, yes, I would say that is the case. However, in this example, that is absolutely not the case. This is more like middle of the road D2. It's just got better edge stability, and it's overall a lot tougher. So, what else did I do with these? This isn't the particular piece, but I have a whole bunch of this laying around at work to check out how well an edge does. I usually carve for 10 or 15 minutes on this during one of my breaks. Like I said, not this piece. I have other pieces around outside so I don't make a mess in the shop here. And do have some hickory laying around. So this was a fairly bigger piece to begin with. It has been shaved down quite a bit. It's nice and hard. So usually if a steel has lower edge stability, something like this will definitely show it. You can see that and feel if it rolls over or anything like that. This did well, as you would expect. And what did surprise me is when it came to this one. Now, from the edge retention, like I said, obviously we know this one is definitely going to be softer than the cold steel. But I was surprised that it actually did pretty well on wood. I couldn't tell. I did both of these the same amount of time. You know, I don't cut how many times I actually, you know, cut some chunks of wood off, make a little bit of feather sticking or any, I don't count that stuff, but I do about the same amount of time. And even being soft, I had absolutely no problems with it. The edge stability still seems to be pretty good, even with it being soft, as far as wood is concerned. I didn't put it against anything else to see. If it was my knife, I definitely would. Not sure Paul would want me to do that, but can't complain as far as using it on wood. When it came to sharpening, the cold steel definitely feels a whole lot better. Feels like two totally different steels. This one does come up easy, and it, believe it or not, I didn't have a hard time deburring this either. So yes, the edge retention isn't there. It is pretty easy to sharpen. I did do both of these on the KME, and I did also do both of them freehand on a 600 grit diamond plate. Paul did say I could hang on to this for a little bit, so I think I might do a little bit of actual EDC use testing with it, not just edge retention testing and some carving out some wood. See how it actually does. This one I'm definitely gonna do more of. Might actually carry these at the same time as a pair and try to split the workload between them and see how they do. You know, give me a good idea of harder versus softer 3V in daily use. I do know this one strops back okay after use. This one, however, like I said, after edge retention, all I've done is strop this one back. I have used it a little bit. This one comes back great just from a strop. Super impressed with this. Definitely going to do a long term of this as my primary EDC at work. It'll also give me a chance to do a small fixed blade again as my primary work carry. I haven't done that in probably a year or so. But we're getting far away from the topic now. Cold Steel 3V, Benchmade 3V. Thanks to Paul Murphy and G That's Sharp. Like I said, look for their links down below. Any questions, comments, anything else, drop them down below. As always, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.